Okay, I'm back and we're going to discuss and demonstrate now the idea of 1 point, 3-point perspective, and we'll use a cube. I'm going to show you just the basic understanding of that, but then also demonstrate a measured 45-degree, finding 45-degree measuring points to find a perfect 45-degree, 90-degree cube. So let's start out. We'll do bird's eye view. Most demonstrations I like to point things out in bird's eye. Maybe we'll do worm's eye too, but let's start in bird's eye. So I'm going to put the horizon line up a little bit higher, just randomly. Probably right here looks to be fine. So that way I have more space to look down on. And then I'll put our center of vision, I will measure that out. I will put it at 12 inches since we're 24 wide. 12 inches is our center. Now, I could put the center of vision over a little bit if I wanted to. I'm just going to always put it in the middle. And that's how we see, but we could always move ourselves over. So our center of vision right down the middle. So let's take my trusty triangle here. And we'll come up and then come on down. We'll just use a full sheet of paper. I could do these diagrams smaller, but it's sometimes a little bit proper sizes, decent sizes. Good. So our center of vision all the way down here. And I think we'll set our head tilt. Now we're looking down. We'll be in 3-point, 1 point, 3-point, but I think we'll set our head tilt. We can already set that in. How about 25 degrees? Seems nice and reasonable. Set my protractor in here. So set it up at 0, 0, and 90. I'll line that up, and then we'll find 25 across here. Again, I like to set this up here. Now, there's another way to tell what head tilt you're having, and that's from your vertical station point, that angle back here. But I like to get this set up first. So 25 degrees is right there. So I'll put a mark. And so we can project it out, and then we'll come out from this is going to be our 1-point vanishing point. So I'll put 1 point VP here, which is also our horizon line center of vision there. Then we're going to come from here outward, just project out. Now remember, that's 25 degrees now. 25 degrees, okay, in tilt, head tilt. And of course, we're in bird's eye view, or BEV. Okay, so now I want to give us some room to work with. And so remember that finding our eye line along our vertical station point, that's a 90-degree run. And so I've got this much space now to work with. So I've got the full piece of paper. Bring that center of vision down a little bit further. So 90-degree to work with gets me almost the edge of the paper. I'll leave a little bit out of it. So right through there. That gets me too far. Let me reach my head over. Sorry if I get in the way. So right in through there's our 90-degree mark that gets us back down to the bottom of the piece of paper down here. That's our vertical vanishing point. You should know this by now. VVP here, vertical station point along there. And then we'll go ahead and project our eye line, of course, across. Right in through there. There's our new eye line because we have a 25-degree tilt looking down. And of course, this makes our vertical station point, VST, for vertical station point, and then our little person, our us, in through here, and of course our feet, maybe a buttock. Now, again, the rate of tilt here could be the same thing, tilted up. Of course, this is also 25 degrees, 90-degree angle in through there. But here's our 90 here. Okay, along that run, we have our 90-degree respective line. Okay, so let's find now. We have our vertical vanishing point, or vertical station point, and we have our 1 point perspective. Now we still need, do we still need a left and right vanishing point? Well, not necessarily, not right. You could put them out, but again, we're going to have a 1 point vanishing point situation in addition to our vertical vanishing point. Remember, our head is tilted down, so we need that diminishment coming from the verticality. Now, one thing I do want to put in, let's go ahead and put in our cone. So remember, that's 30 degrees. So let's find our 30 now from our vertical station point here, downward and along our center of vision line, right through there. That's part of our cone here, and then also up here, 30 degrees. Of course, we're 25 degrees down, so we're going to have a cone that's going to reach into the horizon line and above it. Right in through there. There's part of our cone right through there. Okay, let's go ahead and put the cone down. And through there. There we go. Now from our new eye line, center of vision, we'll come over here to our radius and find our cone and then bring our cone over. Nice. It's a pretty big cone now because I pulled back the vertical station point enough to make it larger. Remember, the further back here we go, the larger the cone gets. Okay. All right, so we have that. So now we have a setup that we need here. And let's create some 1.3 point rectangular forms. Now I know that sounds odd. So remember, most 3-point, you're used to combining really 2-point with a left vanishing point, right vanishing point, okay? And now you could set that out too as well, but if you just want to make 3-point 1-point, you'd have a 1-point vanishing point. So I don't really need to go through the motion now to find our left vanishing point and right vanishing point, only because we're just not going to make them. Now, if you wanted a composition where you're using both, then of course you'd have all three. And of course we could do that in a later lesson if you so desire. Or you can do it on your own. You know enough about that, but I think that's important. So sharpening the pencil here up a little bit, get that working for us. All right. So let's lay down now a base for our ground plane for our volume, our rectangular cube here. I'm just going to lay something down here about this long. Seems fine. And then we're picking it up from the vertical vanishing point down here below. We'll bring up that dimensional height here. So that line needs kind of got two small lines. We'll just make it one thick line. So I'm not doing a perfect cube, so I'm just going to draw a box here. And we're going to bring this up here, like so. Good to go here. There we go. And if I wanted to make it not a cube, I'm not worried about 45 degrees, so I'm going to bring and stop it along about right here. Yeah, it feels good for now. Just a box. We'll do 3 or 4 here. Okay. All right. So now I have diminishment, right, going back down, going to, excuse me, the vertical vanishing point. And if I overdraw a little bit, you'll see that. Right in through here, obviously, we're going back here and we're going back here. Okay. So now we have, and we need diminishment to, since we don't have a left or to the right, and we're 1 point, right, 1 point perspective, 1.3 point, then we go right back to our 1 point vanishing point right in through here. There we go. In some ways, like rule number 3 in perspective, the rule of incline and or decline. But we're not doing that. Now we'll go back from here because we're in 3-point, our head's tilted. So the box is not tilted, our head is. That's what's different, right in through there. Okay. Now we can ask ourselves, how far do we want to cut this off, our cubic box? Do we want to make it really long and rectangular? Yeah, I think it will, to contrast against a perfect cube later. So I think I'll cut it off about right there. I'll put a dot where I have it. And let me go ahead and come in now a little tighter so you can see this clearly. Right in through there. Let me bring the board down a little bit so you can see that. That's important. Coming in. Okay, that's nice and level there. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off here, right through there. I'll cut it off there. There we go. So that gives us a rectangular base plane for our boxy form. Now we need to finish off the form. We need to bring up the box from the back corners, looking inside out. Omniscient here, omnipresent in terms of what we're seeing now from the vertical vanishing point up and meets our diminishment line here. Remember, I'm lining up from the vertical vanishing point. You can't see it in the camera, but we know it's there. This should be pretty easy for you if you've been following the lesson. So from here, down from the diminishment, up now to the diminishment line here, and we're good to go. We'll bring those two over, right in through there. There we go. Bingo, they'll touch off a little bit. That's okay. Just because I'm being a little sloppier. It's all right. And then we'll tighten this up here. There we go. Bingo. And now we have a 1 point cube because it's frontal face is flush with us, and also now also in 3-point perspective. So let's tighten this up a little bit further here, and also here, and let's create a few more. Okay, so we have that nice and tight there. And remember, we're looking down on the object, bird's eye view, looking down at 25 degree head tilt, which is not terribly extreme, but enough to start to make a difference right here. These are not true vertical. Let's create some more here. Let's put another one maybe over here. So we'll put a different looking kind of box. Maybe, well, here's the top of the box. Remember, that doesn't have perspective since we're at 1 point. And then we'll take from these corners, here and here, a little extra graphite there. Take that off, keep it clean. There we go. From our vertical vanishing point, we'll get our diminishment. Okay, down below. Again, I'm not showing in the camera, it should be a refresher. Just lining up, projecting downwards here. Okay, projecting downwards there. And then we can cut it off any place we want it because it's an aesthetic idea. So it's not a perfect cube. I'll keep it within the cone about right here. Feels pretty good. Right in through there. So this might feel a little bit awkward. It's like a 1-point, 3-point box. Yes, we're tilted down looking at the box. Let's say we had a box in 1-point perspective that we were looking at, right? And things are working out fine. We know how to do that. But then we just kept the same box in 1 point, but then we tilted our head down 25 degrees. That's how we get the 1-point, 3-point box. Most of the time, most people show 2-point perspective with 3-point, but you can also do 1 point as well. Anytime you have a head tilt. So from the corners back to the VP, I'll overdraw a little bit so we can see that move back in diminishment there and there. And I'll go ahead and take care of the inside right in through there. There we go. Okay. Now how far do I want to cut it off? I think I'll cut it off before the box. Right in through there. So I'll cut it off and say, hey, I want it to end maybe a little bit before that plane there. So right there, I'll just put a little dot there just to say that's where I want it to end. Then from the vertical vanishing point up here, right to there, I'll line it up. Right there, I'll overdraw a little bit. There we go. So that tells me where to stop, where I made that. And let's tighten this up and through here. I can shade these a little bit before we leave. And then I'm pretty much almost done here as I take my hard edge, line it up, abut it to the left edge, bring it over nice and horizontal. There we are there. And then tighten up over here. And we'll go ahead and do this one inside too as well, so we see that. And then we bring this corner here, the right corner back and over. There we go, bring that through, touch. And then where that ends, we align that there, and then we have our back corner a little bit right in through there. All right, so let me tighten this up further here. There we go, make mine darker so you can really see it. There we go. There's my broken pencil. It wouldn't be a video by me if I didn't break the lead, Mr. Hard Pressure. There we go. Sometimes you just break it, it comes completely off. That happens too. Whoops, there comes my lead, so let me sharpen up for a moment, darn it. Okay, no editing here, no need. I break my pencil too, all the time, actually. And we'll just sharpen it up. So again, that strange kind of feeling and thinking 1 point, 3 point, sure, but they look fairly natural in 3 point. And then of course you combine them, the 2 point, the 1 point. What holds it together is the head tilt system. So the idea that your head is tilted down. So if you had a setup, an arrangement of, let's say, toy blocks, somewhere in 2 point, somewhere in 1 point, your head was level, okay? And so that means that your eye line and your horizon line are the same. But some of those objects are 2 point, some are 1 point. Then you tilted your head down 25 degrees. Those same objects, some would be 1 point and 2 point, but they all of them would be governed in 3 point. Why? Because your head is tilted down. And that's why we have 3 point. So the idea between 1 and 89 degrees that it's 3 point perspective, That's a lot of the time in our life. We don't necessarily notice 3-point as much sometimes because we don't have extreme head tilts. And so we straighten up verticals or horizontals when in actuality they may be slightly in 3-point. Pretty interesting idea there. Okay, you know what? Let's put some 2 points here. So now let's take our drawing. It's pretty easy. Let me pull out and just see that difference. So we'll come out a little bit so we can see everything. Let me bring that back up. There we go. Pull out just a little bit further. Now we're good. Maybe I could come in a little bit to help out. Okay, there we go. All right, so now let's put some 2-point vanishing points. Now we have to go back to our setup a little bit though, right? And we have to tell ourselves, okay, we need that left and right vanishing point. Now, I can set the left vanishing point or the right vanishing point arbitrarily. I can say, hey, I want to put a couple of 2-point box forms over here, and maybe I want this angle of diminishment on the left. I can kind of feel it. So I'm just going to actually pull this angle down and say, this is kind of what I want. That's kind of the look I want. Okay, I can do that. And where I get that look that I want very lightly, back here to the horizon line, that definitely becomes my left vanishing point. But I can't find my right yet until I go back to the vertical vanishing point. I need that construction line. Here, along here, right? Why? Because I have to come through this construction line through our eye line center vision at 90 degrees to find my right vanishing point. So we can do that like this. We can come back and say that's 90 degrees right through there. We can come back to the eye line center point right here. There it is. Boom, there's 90. We keep on trucking and we get there and we get to now our horizon line. And there's our right vanishing point right in through there. And I'm not going to draw another construction line through here if we don't really need it. When I don't need it in my own practice, I don't draw it. So we don't need it. Now we have our left and right vanishing point. Now we can have 1 point, 3-point, and of course 2-point, 3-point, which you really, truly already know if you've been diligent with the video. So let's just do one really quickly. So this could be the top of our box here at that angle. Then we'll come down in diminishment. Let me pull in a little bit so you can see that. There's my trusty remote right through there. There we go. Pull that in and in some more. All right. So from this corner back to the vertical vanishing point, which we did, we'll cut the box off. Let's say here, we'll try to keep it mostly in the cone. Right there, back to the left vanishing point, we'll draw our diminishment right through. And let's say we'll cut off that plane of that box about right there. And then we'll go back down to the vertical vanishing point, draw through there, and there it is. There's our first plane. Now we need our right plane, which will give us also our top. And let's go back to the right vanishing point from this plane here. Remember at 25-degree tilt, right vanishing point there. Also from this point through the right vanishing point there. Bingo. And then we'll just arbitrarily pick a point here. We'll make it maybe a little bit shorter. So right here I'll pick a point, very arbitrary since we're not doing perfect cubes. Then we'll go back to the vertical vanishing point. If I go too fast, stop me, slow me down. Right through there. Okay. And then from this corner we'll go back to the left vanishing point, overdraw a little bit, and then of course from this corner back to the right vanishing point here. There we go. And we'll just tighten it up, overdraw a little bit, which is fine. And then we can tighten this up for real here now and really make this nice and clean, or cleaner. And I'm not going to draw the back in because you've seen that done here and here and here to tighten up. Whoops. And here to tighten up too as well. All right, so we have now juxtaposed together, comparing the two together, we have a a 2-point, 3-point, and then a 1-point, 3-point. And they're all governed by that head tilt. That head tilt says, hey, you're under my jurisdiction, you're under my power, and it won't move from that. So we have that. we could put actually a 2-point, let's put a 2-point box on top of this 1-point box, and then we'll call this lesson accomplished. And then I'll show you how to do 45-degree perfect cubes in 1.2 points. So I'm going to place the corner of our box, our 2-point box, in this 1 point about right here. I'm still going to keep it below the horizon line. I'm going to lighten this up a little bit so you see this without getting too confused. Right in through here, I'll lighten up the line. There's no mistakes made. I just want to lighten this up a little bit. And I'll redarken this, because that went from the vertical vanishing point, obviously. Right in through there. And then we'll go back to the right. We'll catch that, converge there, and we'll converge here. And then we'll go to the right vanishing point here. There we go, and to the right vanishing point here. Just getting our diminishment. Okay, and then we'll cut this off. I think we want to still keep some of it on the top of the box, maybe about right there. I'll put a dot to show you what I want. Then from the vertical vanishing point, I know I'm out of camera, but you should understand that, to there. Bring that up. There's our vertical diminishment. So we have a little bit of a tilt there because we're in 3-point. Okay, it's like looking at a series of boxes going down a little bit. And then how far do I want this off? Let's knock this off a little way so it's like it's not perfectly aligned or it's not perfectly on the box. Let's knock it off, or let's end the box about right there. So about right there. From the vertical vanishing point up there. Okay, there we go, and over. So it's kind of a longer rectangular box. There and there. And then we can end this by saying, okay, we're over here to the left vanishing point, draw over, and the same thing to the right in 3 points perspective. There we go here, and we're cooking with gas. We've got this little projection of a box here that's got a little space now tilted over on the lip. So we've got it. We've got our box. I'm going to put one more 1 point right over through here. So I'm going to erase this out a little bit. Let's see, where's my Japanese mono eraser? Here it is. So let's erase this. I'm just going to lighten this up. I can't erase it all because it's drawn pretty dark. That's fine. So let's put another 1 point box here. 3-point box, excuse me. And now we'll finish. So I could say, I could find out, I want the front and bottom where it touches the ground to be about right, let's say about right here. I'm going to keep it off center a little bit, about right there. Okay. Then I can bring up my verticals from the vertical vanishing point because we're in 3-point here. Okay, up. Okay, and here we want to go up. Now, then we're gonna finish this out. Let's say, actually, let's go a little higher because I don't want to confuse where the ends right through there. It's good. There we go. All right. Nice and dark here. Right there. Okay, so we have the front plane of our box. Remember, we're in 3-point. We're in 3-point, 1 points. So we do have a rate of diminishment of 25 degrees. So it's a slight tilt there. Now, we've got this amount of space for this box to work with. I think what I'll do is I'll butt this new box right up against the back of it. So we do have to draw on the inside. So how do I do that? Well, here's our 1-point vanishing point. So from these two corners, I'll line up. I'll project depth going to that there. And also on the right side there. Where I stop right here, that's the back of the box, and also butts up against the front of our first one, our big one. Now, I can project these front corners back to our 1 point box here and here. Got that going, okay. And of course now, we can bring up and say this is where that box ends, so those need verticals coming up, which goes from the vertical vanishing point up, 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 right here, and it stops along the vertical diminishment that we projected back about right, where is it, about right there, and through here, yeah, so there it is, and through here, from the vertical vanishing point up, 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 it stops that projection right there. Now we have it, so make sure you can see that right there. There we go. Okay, so that's where we're stopping right there. That gives us the top of our box that's abutted to the bigger box. Both of those are in 1 point, 3 point. How do we know? Because that front face is flat to us. This one is 1 point, that one's 1 point, that one's 1 point, 3 point. We have two that are 2 point as well. Very important to see there. Okay, there we go. All right. Then we've got that working. Okay. There we go. All right, and if we want to do a little shading, we can, just to give it a little bit more dimension. We could say that our light source is being projected from the, we'll bring it down a little bit, from the top left, somewhat in front, shooting down this way. So that gives us a lighter side at the top. That's one at the top. Then the if we see a left plane, that'll be medium, and then anything on the right will be darker. So we can do that. Okay. So I'll start to shade this in a little bit. So that's our medium plane, and then our darker plane I'll just keep on going over. Catch that, make a couple of passes to go a little bit darker. And sometimes, again, I overdraw outside that plane a little bit, and of course I can take my Japanese mono eraser and come back and catch that edge. Clean that up a little bit, keep that edge tight, crisp, and clean. Okay, so we've got that one. Let's do our second one here. Kind of a medium value. There are only two planes here to see. Tighten it up through there. So we'll make that a little bit darker. By a whole lot. And then we've got the top plane of this box, which is lighter, and then we've got this front plane to us, which will make, I'm going to make it a little bit darker than the bigger box, just so it'll stand out a little further. And we'll finish this one out by going a little darker here. So we found all of that volume, the inside volume too, so we could get to this point to know that that's abutting. And then we'll go medium and dark here, 1, 2, 3 step shading, right? So you can tone in both planes the same value really quickly to see that. And then of course the darker plane, plane number 3, will be the darkest. It goes pretty quick there, and we'll add a little bit of value here on this side. There we go. And then lastly we'll end off with this one. Same kind of thing over here now. 1 point, 3 point, and then we combined it with a couple of just traditional 2-point, 3-point. Most people see that, but they don't necessarily think about 1-point, 3-point, which is there. All right, so there we go. Get that a little bit looser, and then of course we could put a little atmosphere if you want to as well. Back there. Just to stand these boxes off a little bit. Erase that. Catch that edge. All right, finishing it up. 3-point, 1-point, and 3-point, 2-point. The idea was to practice a little bit 3-point, 1-point, so we get some variation with our viewpoint. And again, it was like taking boxes that were set up in traditional 1 and 2-point because our eye line would be at the horizon line, and then we tilted our head down 25 degrees. And we created the same scenario at 25-degree difference with 1-point boxes, right? 1, 2, 3 here, and also some 2 points. Okay, so when I come back for the next lesson, I'll show you how to find 45-degree measuring points in 3-point perspective to give you that perfect cube kind of look and feel. Okay, I'll be back. Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.